Have you ever gotten a haircut and looked in the mirror and thought, oh no, not because it was objectively terrible, but because it didn't feel like you? That's what happened to me this week. Only looking back, I realized something, that I don't think that I disliked my haircut. I think that I just kind of disliked my day. And I wonder how often we do that with much bigger things in life. Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Lisa, and we talk about faith, midlife health, and creating a beautiful, ordinary life in the second half. And today we're talking about something that sounds completely superficial, but I don't think it is, because sometimes a haircut isn't really about a haircut. I had an appointment to get my hair cut, and I'm leaving on a work trip to California and to Texas next week. And I had already started off with a disappointment this morning. And for the second day in a row, Amazon, for some reason, randomly canceled our Whole Foods grocery delivery after it was supposed to have already been delivered. No explanation. We order groceries almost every week, and we tip really well and have them delivered. And it happened day before yesterday, too. So before I even left for my appointment, I was already frustrated. And then on the way to the salon, a bolt went straight through my tire. And thankfully, and I really do mean thankfully, it happened directly in front of a repair shop. I mean, did they put the bolt there? I don't know. They immediately put on my spare tire, and I made it to my appointment, and I was only 5 minutes late, and it was clear across town. And honestly, I really saw God's kindness in that. So at the salon, everything seemed fine. I had on a black linen tank and olive green linen pants, brown sandals, and these gold hoop earrings that I always wear, just simple and kind of classic looking. And the stylist showed me all the places in my hair that had broken off from years of over-processing from a previous hairdresser. And it was dry and it was damaged, and he said the best thing to do would be to cut away all that unhealthy hair. And when I left, I was actually happy. Not over the moon excited. I had looked at probably 50 different haircuts and used AI, put my face on them and all this, but I thought I can live with this. And another woman was there, a dentist wife that I knew, and she told me that she was brave enough to cut her hair short. And then, of course, several people complimented it and said how cute it was and blah, blah, blah. And it had been a good appointment. And it was good to see my old hairdresser that I had been to like 10 years ago or more. And then I pulled into another tire shop out near the salon to have them inspect the damaged wheel and see if they could fix it. And so I got out of the car and I opened the trunk. And lo and behold, my original tire wasn't even there. And apparently the first repair shop had accidentally kept it. And so at that point I just laughed. And I started calling the dealership because I thought maybe the tire was still under warranty. And of course it wasn't. But it had already been 4 years. And it's so funny how we always think, I just bought that. And I mean, I literally thought I had just bought those tires like within a year. And it had been 4 years. And so while I was standing there, the original repair shop called. And they had just realized that they still had my tire. And so they apologized, and I just went ahead, and maybe it was a ploy for me to order my replacement from them, so I did anyway. And they told me they'd have it ready tomorrow. So I drove on my donut all the way back home, all across town. But anyway, somewhere in the middle of all of that, I took a selfie because I wanted to send it to my husband. And I looked at the picture, and just all of a sudden, I didn't like it anymore, my haircut. And so I drove home, and I changed into a t-shirt and put on some shorts and took off all my jewelry, and not that I wear a ton, and I looked in the mirror again, and now I thought, ew, I look dowdy. And what changed? I mean, it wasn't my haircut, it was still the same. It was the context. And maybe my emotional state, having been frustrated half the day. But as I thought about it later, I just kind of realized something, that when I left the salon, I liked it. Other people liked it. My stylist had improved the health of my hair. Nothing about my hair had really changed, but my day had, after I changed clothes. And then I experienced disappointment after disappointment coming from Amazon, and then the tire, and then the missing wheel, and work piling up while I went to get my hair done, and travel upcoming, and I had emails waiting, and I still had the military presentations I needed to shorten for next week, and expenses to submit because it's the end of the month, and packing, and bills, and my blueberry bush is exploding with blueberries ready to pick. And it's the holiday weekend, and we've got a party we have to go to that is a potluck, so it means I've got to take food. And then it's the first of the month, so I've got a church lunch. I've got to take food. And then I fly out early Monday morning. And by the time I looked in the mirror, I don't think I was judging my haircut. I think that I was carrying the weight of the day. And it made me think, how often do we do that? We blame the last thing that happened for everything that we've been holding on to and that's weighing us down. Maybe it's your husband. Maybe it's your child. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's your house. It could be your appearance. And the last thing simply becomes the place where all of our frustration just lands. And then I realized something even deeper, that I wasn't really evaluating my hair. I was evaluating what it represented. And I've shared before that I'm not really afraid of wrinkles. And I'm afraid of becoming invisible, of looking matronly, and of looking somehow like I've disappeared, like that. All those fears. I want to be, no matter my age. Does my hair? Do I look classy? Do I look fun? Do I look spunky and artistic? And isn't it amazing that how often one ordinary event somehow becomes symbolic of something much bigger? And the truth is, my haircut doesn't change who I am. I wanted it to state how I feel. It didn't change my marriage. It didn't change my friendship. It doesn't change what I believe in my faith or the woman that I'm becoming. In fact, it's healthier now than it's been in a long time. The damaged hair is gone. The broken pieces are gone. And healthier didn't look familiar. And I wonder sometimes if that's true in other areas of life. Sometimes healthier feels unfamiliar. Sometimes the growth that we have to experience just doesn't feel normal. And sometimes we have to let go of damaged things before something stronger can grow. And I realized something else, that just a few hours earlier, I had been wearing clothes that made me feel confident, intentional, put together, light, but not formal. And then I changed into clothes that I was working around the house in 104-degree weather and expected to feel the same when I looked in the mirror. And that's not really fair. And I think this is so true of midlife, that sometimes we don't need a new face, and we don't need a new haircut, and we don't need a new wardrobe. Sometimes we just need perspective, because feelings change, and lighting changes, outfits change, hair grows, seasons change, but our identity doesn't have to change every time our reflection disappoints us in the mirror. And if you're like me, maybe you've looked in the mirror and you've thought, I don't recognize myself anymore. I hope you'll remember this. Don't let one haircut, one wrinkle, one birthday, one picture of yourself, or one difficult day tell you a story that isn't true. Your reflection is not the whole story, and neither is one disappointing day. So thanks so much for spending a little time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.